winter has arrived in Oregon's vineyards. The hard work of harvest and crush has ceased, leaving time to reflect upon the most recent vintage. At King Estate, a sense of great optimism is apparent, though the true nature of these young wines has yet to be revealed. There's a long road traveled while making a fine wine, and understanding a single vintage, though no simple task, best begins in the spring.
Well, fruit set, just like bud break and flowering, was early, anywhere between 10 to 15 days earlier than last year. Pretty much throughout the state of Oregon, what we've seen is a very uniform set.
The really nice thing about the early warm spring that we had is that the fruit, when it flowers and it pollinates, all the pollination occurs very rapidly and very quickly, and we don't see a lot of variation in the clusters, and that's really important. That means that we're getting a lot of the fruit develop at the same time.
What we kind of expect to see is that when the color change comes on, veraison, we're going to see also a nice uniform color change, berry softening.
What we know about Oregon is that it is a powerful and prolific agricultural region. Viticulturally, world-class sites have been identified in western Oregon's valleys. From these sites, wines of world-class quality are being produced. Oregon wines are best known for their fruit-forward character. There is a brightness of fruit flavors and aromas inherent in the grapes, a result of the unique soils and climate. But unlike many other New World wine regions, Oregon is not a place where grapes for wine grow easily or automatically.
The best wine in the world is made where the fruit just gets ripe. It's at the margin that the best fruit is made and the best fruit is grown, and that's the most brilliant fruit, the most flavorful fruit.
With summer approaching, plant growth accelerates, as does work in the field. To focus flavor and deep color, leaf thinning is done to increase airflow and light on the clusters. Hedging redirects photosynthetic energy to secondary shoots, maximizing each plant's potential. A naturally occurring sulfur is added topically to eliminate an intermittent mildew brought on by a brief rain. Even with a fantastic start to the vintage, both estate and contract vineyards are monitored closely by King Estate's Director of Viticulture.
Yeah. Well, you know how I feel about it. Right now, this vine probably could ripen all this fruit. Yeah. Or do we get better quality if we actually came in and did something kind of severe like this, taking off all this fruit? Yeah. And we need to get this information, and the sooner the better for those years that we really need to do it. We can justify it, and everybody can feel good about it.
Summer at the winery is spent blending and bottling previous vintages, as well as preparing for harvest and crush.
Typically in the lab, this is the slow time of the year. But with our production increasing over the last few years, we don't really have a slow time anymore. We bottle our Chardonnay just before harvest. And so the last month we've been preparing a Chardonnay blend and our first reserve Chardonnay blend. We are continually tasting. When all of the winemaking staff is here, we'll taste every day.
My comment was just that what we're tasting here across the range is a very pretty wine. We like many of the components that we're seeing. It's all there, and we really may be talking about, in part, the adolescence of this wine, given the varietal.
And we have another 5 months before we bottle. 4 months, 5 months. So we have a lot of time to evaluate the wine, let it age a bit, and see where it wants to go.
You don't move too soon before
The team approach to
wine
winemaking suits King Estate perfectly. It emphasizes quality over personal preference.
There's still some tobacco and some coffee characters.
The team also helps balance the workload of a large operation whose staff numbers swell during crush.
Really important part of our harvest is the internship program that we have. And we bring on a lot of people from all over the world. This year we have people from Kenya, from China, from Australia, New Zealand, France, Germany.
It's fun watching them grow as they learn things here, writing down all the ideas, picking your brains. It becomes a nuisance sometimes, but at least they're working pretty hard. Equipment here, that's all being sanitized at the end of last harvest. We'll spruce everything up, just give everything another sanitation, check the equipment over. It hasn't been run for a while.
The commitment to and achievement of excellence is a common purpose among the individuals that compose the King Estate family. These people have gathered not simply for employment, but to make a beverage that will be a key component in celebration, and a wine that will be remembered in the continuum of viticulture.
From really historical records and from every indication prehistorically, wine has been a central human medicine, religious tool, food, and it's a key part of our cultural fabric. Today, it continues exactly the same. It's the beverage of celebration. It's the beverage of festival. It's an accompaniment to meals, common and meals special, weddings. Every sort of event and human experience you can think of probably has a role for wine.
The stage is set. All that is left is to wait. Everything now is dependent on the weather.
We've cooled down just the last couple of weeks now. We're seeing clouds. We've had some rain. This is the time of year when we start to get very concerned because the race is tightening up between the ripening of the fruit and the start of the rains.
The Volcker report is horrendous. He's calling for rain. I want to say that he doesn't know what he's talking about, that it's not going to happen. How's that for optimism?
It's a nice thing to know where you're going. It's a great thing to have a vision about what you're trying to do. It simplifies things tremendously. And we've been very certain about it from the very start that we really had one driving goal here, and that was to make wines of the highest quality, world quality. That simplified things for us a great deal.
Sweet.
King Estate is a very different winery. We have a very unique approach to winemaking. We have 130 fermenters in the winery. We look at each different lot and each different vineyard as we make the wine. We keep them all separate. It keeps our minds on the vineyards. We're looking at each individual vineyard constantly.
From the very beginning, we wanted to step up to the national and international marketplace and showcase Oregon wines. Ed and his family's members have just really opened up a lot of doors and opportunities for other wineries in the state. Why not be a role model? Everybody's going to grow better grapes, they're going to make better wines, they're going to present to the end consumer products that are consistent, and it's just all a win-win for the industry.
The staff works 12-hour days. Many work longer. Harvest and crush continues around the clock for 4 weeks. Winemaking is often simply seen as an endeavor where nature's fruit is met with a scientist's understanding of fermentation. But more likely, the truth may reside in what the winemakers don't know.
And I think we've all probably said this at some point in our lives, is that as time goes on, we learn that we don't know that much. And that's kind of what I learn every year as I'm humbled. And that's what leads us into the next vintage. Every vintage is looking back at the vintages that we've had, what successes we've had, what failures we've had, and evaluating those. Those failures go out the door, successes go in the bottle. What I look for is to maintain consistency in quality. We make the best wine that we can from the vintage.
For the staff of King Estate, the craft of winemaking is not a response to trend or marketing whim. Theirs is a discipline, a study of the noble, ancient, and evolving tradition best understood by opening a bottle of King Estate wine.
You know, when you take on a project like this and you make the commitments that we've made, I'm not just talking about financial, I'm talking about to people. You have to know why you're climbing that mountain. But if you're going to climb this mountain, then, you know, do it for real. Make it count. That's been the philosophy.